One of the biggest challenges in the visual effects industry when you work a feature movie, everybody in the last 3 months needs render power. So in your situation, let's say you get everybody to go online and then everybody suddenly needs render power these last 2-3 months. What is your capacity? Where are your limits? Or is it possible that I end up in a situation where it's like, oh, sorry, you have to wait a week or so before we can give you render nodes?
So at this point, I turn around and tell you that we have unlimited compute power.
But will you have it? Because now you don't have the market. Because I can tell you from first-hand experience, most studios, they go and rent render nodes. Sure. And I had it where I went to the render node company and I said, what's going on? Everybody wants render nodes. What show are you working on? And we were all working on 2012 movie, and we couldn't get render nodes. And it got even to the point where I couldn't buy CPUs because all the vendors were like, no, we have to wait 2 months now. All the CPUs are sold out.
I'm absolutely with you on that. I worked on a show where we were in Sydney and we ended up having to get the Avatar render farm and put it in a container and float it across to Sydney and then hook it up at the docks in order to finish our show. So I totally understand the scarcity of resource in that regard. What I can say is that Google buys about 19% of the, like just under 20% of the global Intel production. It's just crazy how many cores there are. And the fact that we have this planetary network and also the fact that we have data centers in multiple locations on the planet, we have customers who are rendering in Iowa, for instance, in central US, who are in Asia, because it's slightly less expensive for them to render there. And once you get past the whole file system in the cloud and syncing your asset issue, you can render anywhere on the planet. So we're much less susceptible to localization issues as far as, there's a huge amount of rendering required in A or B, also because of our clients are diversified across a whole bunch of verticals. So although the visual effects industry is going to have the summer blockbuster and the Thanksgiving push and all of the little bumps, or commercial divisions are going to have the Super Bowl, those are quite small workloads compared to the planetary compute resource that Google has. So although I can't promise truly unlimited cores, if you get in touch with us like a few days in advance, capacity planning can move things around to a significant level. There's data loads that can be moved from one data center to another. If you need 10,000 cores on Wednesday and it's Monday, talk to us and concessions can be made. I will hand the mic down just in case.
The one other thing I would add from a Google point of view is we would relish the opportunity to try to break us. As Jeff points out, we have a lot of cores available.
Question back here?
Yeah, I was going to say the other big problem during render pushes is that everyone's sleeping under the desk and the office gets really, really dark and funky and everyone smells. So yeah, that's the other limiting factor. Lack of swag t-shirts that you can change into.
I guess the other one, the thing too for production people, us in the fields, and if we're in the jungles of Costa Rica or anywhere that may be, we might not have connectivity to the cloud. What kind of offerings do you guys know of? Anything kind of a queuing system where, hey, I can be with no connectivity, do my job almost a script-like, without being a programmer myself. Once I get connectivity, everything's going up to the cloud and computing and everything else. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's one of the things that we deal with on a regular basis where we don't have connectivity, like South Africa, for example. When we've been there working and we want to work within the cloud. Is there any kind of queuing model that is coming up, I guess, in the future of offline?
I'll pick that up really quickly and say we don't have a specific offering for the middle of Africa on set. However, if you look at technologies like the Loon project, where we have big hydrogen balloons flying around the planet providing connectivity, and we also have an aerospace division that we've announced that has giant flying airplanes and other cool technology like that. You can Google that up and find out more. But the point is the possibility of providing connectivity anywhere on the planet is in the future. But today we are partnering with companies. I can suggest Iron Mountain being local here in Los Angeles, where you can potentially take a Hitachi Blue Arc in the back of a truck and plug it in with 40 gig pipes and upload to the cloud and not have to burden your own system. So happy to talk with you further about possible ideas you have as far as how to make that go. But beyond the global wireless goodness and a pickup truck, those are kind of our two options right now. Anyone else want to pick that up?
Hi, I'm Bjorn Leff. I'm a storage engineer at Google. So the cool thing about Google is we have a very large global network with more interconnection points than any other network provider on the planet. And we actually have connectivity to South Africa as well. So that's one of the peering points, yeah. And so one of the cool things about the Google Cloud Platform is that once your network packet comes from your facility through some ISP, typically directly to Google, then you get a high-speed, first-class ticket straight to our data centers. So, the reason we run our global fiber backbone is because we want to control how traffic runs. We run it's a software-defined network that's heavily optimized for client traffic. So there's basically full utilization with no congestion for your traffic, right? So as soon as you make to the Google connection points, then you go straight to our data centers and our network. So that's the best we can offer, I think.
One of the things that we're doing for our customers is offering them an additional piece of software allows them to ingest content into the cloud environment and automatically adjust to the networking conditions. So to give you an example is if the average video feed runs at 6 megabits per second and your bandwidth drops down to 1 megabit per second, we'll automatically additionally compress that, add a little bit of additional latency on top of that just to make sure that we can get all the bits in. We'll reorder the packets and everything else, make sure that they do land inside the cloud environment until either better connectivity becomes available or there's ability to peer directly into the Google network.
You guys mentioned about the MPAA certification and as a second half of 2015. How realistic is that? Because a small studio that would like to get bigger projects and count with a cloud platform for that, if the studios don't allow you to use it, that's a big problem because basically we cannot do it.
So there's two pieces to that. One is right now we're waiting on the MPAA. We're waiting for their revised best practices document. I'm pretty confident that we can meet or exceed the requirements that are in that document. So my challenge becomes, how do I convey that to the industry? And so this is a little bit of what we'd like to help facilitate with the industry is, how do you want to verify this? Who do you want to trust in terms of, yes, these security controls at this vendor are meeting this requirement in the specification? Is it going to be a self-certified process, or do we want to, are we going to use the Big Five auditing firms? We'd like to help facilitate that conversation so that we can do it in a standard fashion and it makes sense. So the realistic timeline on being able to, as soon as I get my hand on that spec, I can answer it pretty quickly. I have all the evidence, and based upon what I believe is in there, I think we have good answers to those questions. Whether you believe me or not, that's another thing. But I've got no reason to not tell you the truth. I mean, I want your business. I don't want to trick you. No. But I mean,
my concern is not just Google. It's the whole interaction with the MPA.
Yeah. So the hope is our hope is that the industry embraces that as a standard and it works for them. Short of that, the other thing that we're doing is we're also engaged in conversations with the major studios and talking to them about the unique requirements they might have as a different company, or how we can work with them to satisfy answering their questions. They may have an independent auditor that they'd like us to talk to and work with. We've had some discussions along those lines. They may want to do some auditing themselves. We're having some discussions along those lines. So we're trying to navigate that, and we're trying to do it as quickly as we can so that it's not a barrier. I wish I could tell you, yep, December 15th will be done. I don't want to make that commitment to you, but what I will commit to is that this is important to us, and we are watching it very, very closely, and we're doing, I think, everything that we can do to make sure that we're, making progress there. I think that's probably the best answer I could give you.
So I'll step in. I was part of the team that helped craft that stuff and hand it off to the MPAA. So if you want to get an advanced look at some of that stuff or be ready for it when it comes out, I would look at the CSA, the Cloud Security Alliance, which helped craft the document, and ISE, which is the lead auditor for Marvel and the Disney groups, which help also drive this. So those two organizations would be the best one to get an advanced view.
CSA, ISE.
Yeah, CSA and ISE. Oh. Hi, my name's Eric Weaver. I work with the ETC. So we help drive some of those standards and changes. So,
Thanks. Additional questions? Questions? I think it's time then. Please thank all of our panelists, all of our speakers. Good job, guys.